Now entering Nerdist.com.
Hello and welcome to Today We Learned. Welcome back, guys. Happy almost holidays.
Welcome. Yeah, it's we got a week left to go, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks before the
we're in the
holidays?
home stretch. Increasingly the malls are going to look more and more like Road Warrior or Day of the Dead. So be careful out there. Get your holiday shopping done.
Yeah.
Download a picture of Razzle and myself off the internet, print
Absolutely.
that on a T-shirt, and wear it around.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
will,
or give it as a greeting card.
yeah, or just mail it. Just mail our pictures to a bunch of people with no explanation.
No
Or
explanation.
maybe put like Google TWL.
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, at TWL podcast. Make it,
Yeah.
make them work. Give them enough curiosity to look to try and figure it out.
Exactly. And today's podcast is brought to you by Eggnog. It's not an egg. It's not a nog. It's both.
That's both. What is eggnog?
What is? We'll find out someday. That would be a good thing to learn next week. Not today's podcast. If you came here to learn about eggnog, I'm sorry.
Wrong place.
You blew it.
Wrong place and
You
time.
goofed.
You'll have to listen to explaining a lot of things. Our side podcast.
That is not our problem. But guys, we have a great episode for you today. We've been trying to get this guy in here for a long time, so we're very excited that he was finally able to come to the studio and sit down with us.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. Well, you already know. He also appears on Razzle's other podcast on the Wolf Pop Network, Picking Favorites. Really great show. You guys should check it out. Also hosted by fantastic people like
Tyler Labine, who you've also seen on the show. Then a friend of ours, David Coleman. It's the four of us, and we sit down with a guest each week, and it's based on the premise that everybody's got a favorite thing. So I guess I'll promote it real quick here. Every episode, we sit down with a guest and we pick 3 categories, and we talk about our favorite, be it our favorite candy, our favorite time travel movie, our favorite holiday tradition, our favorite 80s action movie. We do a lot of movies because there's so many different types of movies, but we do a lot of TV shows, and we just recently did our favorite stand-up comedian and things like that. And it's a really, really fun show, and it's just, a bunch of people hanging out, talking about their favorite things.
Yeah.
Really, really fun. So, yeah, check that out. I guess while we're plugging things, also go onto YouTube and watch The Dan Cave.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really good.
Every week I do a fun
yeah.
show right here on Nerdist.com. If you're listening on iTunes, just go to Nerdist.com. There's a little Dan Cave link there. And talk about pop culture, TV, movies, comic books, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's a safe space.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what else we got going on. And I guess let's get to this fun episode here. Today we learn number 66 with Zachary Levi.
Today we learn.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Today We Learned. My name is Razzle. Dan is on his way. He had a shoot that ran late, so he's going to be joining us a little bit late. But boy, do we have a fun episode today. We have a lot of facts I have compiled here, a lot of fun facts, and we have a very, very special guest, a very good friend of mine. He's an actor. He's a director. A lot of you may know him for his role on Chuck. More recently, Fandral in Thor: The Dark World. Those of you with children will recognize his voice as Flynn Rider from the wonderful movie Tangled. He's a owner of a multimedia and clothing company called The Nerd Machine, and also he's a huge advocate for charities and great causes. Most commonly, there's one he's really familiar with, Operation Smile. So looking at that, that's a really good charity there. As you know, because you clicked download on this episode, our guest is Zachary Levi. Zachary Levi, say hello.
Hi. What's up, Raz?
How you doing, sir? Long time no see.
I know, right? We just, I'm sure a lot of your listeners out there know that we do a podcast together called Picking Favorites as well. So I'm quite familiar with your naked body and a microphone. People don't realize that Razzle always does his podcast naked.
Yes.
We don't talk about it a lot, and I figured this is the opportunity to tell you he is completely butt naked.
Way to let the cat out of the bag. You're like the hackers on Sony. Please don't publish this. It was the information was stolen illegally. Recording studios are always, I like to get comfortable, and if I'm going to get comfortable, if I'm going to
It does affect the voice. People don't realize clothing can weigh down the voice,
especially when all you wear is corduroy, and that's all I wear. And if I'm going to record with,
you just sound like Zydeco music. You sound like washboard in Zydeco music. Thanks for the rundown of my IMDb there as well. That was quite good, actually.
Yeah.
You hit all the bullet points, including the nonprofit, which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
I feel like I do feel a little ashamed that I don't have a more modern credit than Thor: The Dark World, which came out a few years ago. I did Broadway. I did a Broadway show, which was the most recent thing, and then I was unemployed. I've been unemployed for some time.
It's you got to get on that Tangled sequel.
Yeah.
Gotta get on that.
More Tangled.
More
Tangleder.
Untangled, the documentary of the making.
Yeah.
It's like if they were actors acting, and like Flynn's just like he's offset,
It's like, God, I can't believe this. This broad. Jeez, who grows their hair that long? And then want to make a movie about it? Oh man.
Thor: The Dark World that came out. Was last year then? So it wasn't 2 years ago? Like it was,
no, I feel like it was 2 years ago. I feel like.
But then you've been. I know you.
Maybe it was like 1.5 years ago. I don't remember.
But you did Broadway. You did a play.
I did this musical called First Date. Was living in New York. Did that for about 6 months. Loved that. It was. I mean, it was crazy intense. It was the most difficult and therefore most rewarding experience I've ever had as an actor. Doing 8 shows a week for 6 months with no. It's unrelenting.
That's like
I actually heard
pure adrenaline. Like that's got to be the biggest come down when you're done doing that, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, certainly the first few months, and then you kind of find that groove a little bit, and also it also depends on your audience that night. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes into it, but no, it's just like it's a massive like. It wasn't a physical challenge to me as much as it was a mental challenge because it was a comedy. It was a musical comedy. It was really like it was an hour and a half with no intermission, and there was only 7 people. It took place in one restaurant, and so it kind of felt like we were doing an hour and a half sitcom with music. That's what I felt like. Very jokey, lots of one-liners and stuff, and so that was a lot of fun. But you if you tell the same joke for a month, it's interesting, and it's challenging. You tell it for 2 months, and you're like, I'm pretty over this joke at this point. But then you tell it for 6 months, and you're forgetting what's even funny about it anymore. The cadence is weird, the punchline is weird. You're like, where was this in rehearsal? What was funny? Because I don't like your mind just gets so messed up and all that stuff. And for me anyway, because I'm always shooting for. I want the biggest eruptive laughter that I can, and then I don't know. It was a weird challenge, but I'm glad that I did it. Yeah,
that's got to be interesting too because the joke, and it starts off. Obviously, laughter tends to be the for audiences. It's like a reflex. It's like a protecting. It's I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's so. To get the biggest laugh, you go through the mathematics and the equation of the cadence and the delivery. So after so many of those shows, you tend to forget which part of the delivery is funny.
Ooh, right? I think for me more so it stopped being funny to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, this might get a little deep into like comedy philosophy, but I feel like if it's not funny to you, I mean, as a comic, if it's not funny to you, it's not going to be funny for the people, right?
Yeah.
So if you tell the same joke over and over and over again, it's not you're not surprised by it.
Correct.
You're not surprised by your delivery. So you'll start screwing with it a little bit. So you'll be like, I might hold it a little bit longer here, or let it, or be a little tighter here.
Exactly.
So it's newer and fresher and funnier for you.
Yes.
And then you can still get laughs with it.
Yes.
You're like, oh, wow. So now you're like kind of playing jazz with comedy a little bit and an audience. But then you get to a place where even that, like every iteration of that possible delivery has been used. Yeah. And then you're trying to go back to where you started. And like, I don't even know where I started. I don't remember what was funny about this to begin with,
Yeah.
I mean, that's getting a little like...
that's believe it or not, that's our side podcast, dissecting Broadway comedies.
No, just the philosophy of comedy.
Philosophy of comedy.
Kamikosophy. I don't know. Philamic. I don't know. We'll work on that. That's a
Philomedy.
Philomedy.
It sounds like a disease. Like you got
it all sounds like diseases.
Type 1 or type 2.
Dan made it.
I've been here the whole time, but completely silent.
And cloaked, apparently.
Like a weird predator.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever. Or we were predators and you were covered in mud.
Exactly.
Something like that. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
What was the predator sound? It's like, right? That was it?
No, I feel
That's like an Austin Powers sound.
Yeah, or like Chewbacca when he's like very gently snoring or something.
When he's warming up in the morning.
It was
when you pet the.
that was what it was.
Yes,
but like faster, more rapid clicking, rapid clicking.
So good.
Yes,
man.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
Get to the chopper.
I watched that, like, it's been a while since I seen it, and I watched it maybe 2 months ago for the first time in maybe 8 years or whatever. And I forgot, like, I knew the story and the plot, but I forgot how much of, like, it always, like, bad guys in those movies were always, like, business dudes, like Carl Weathers was literally he was the asshole business dude. It was like, God damn, why do you need to be the bad guy? Like,
or like Aliens,
play along?
Like Paul Reiser was the bad guy in
Yes.
Aliens. Like Ripley, let's not just nuke the planet because I'm here on a business mission. And hey, if people need to get aliens busting out of their chest, and it's like, what?
Paul Reiser, like you watch Aliens and or even
even in Die Hard,
it's
Hans Bobby. I can be your white knights.
So
They're all busy businessmen.
Well, it was just the 80s.
Yeah.
It was the 80s. It was 80s cocaine-driven business. That's all it was.
It was an easy trope. And, it still works.
A trope is already being dropped. The word trope has been dropped already in this podcast.
The Wayland Corporation and Aliens was built on coke. It was it was a drunken night with the Waylands just doing blow at a holiday party, thinking, what can we start? What kind of company can we start?
Yeah.
So is that just liquid coke that comes out of the androids when they kill them?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Which is why they're all so just like hyper aware.
Yeah.
Like every android. That's how you can do that.
Yeah,
the
that's
thing
how you
with
can do knifey spoon so fast.
Knifey spoon over the hand thing so fast. It's like he is just madly coked out. His blood is literally liquid cocaine.
He's done so much cocaine he thinks he's a robot.
Yeah. his head stays alive even after death. He's not a droid. He's a human being. But he's done so much coke he can actually come back to life. That's amazing. That's what we learned today, folks.
Yeah, with the truth behind Lance Hendrickson.
So as literally we got here, we literally just started. We didn't even get, we were just chit-chatting here. I just introduced Zach and we were talking about,
awesome
projects. Zach, as you know, and as our listeners know, we like to start off every show with the guest providing either a fun fact about themselves or something you learned recently.
Well, I gave that a lot of thought, and two things. One, I have a really big mouth, and basically everybody already knows everything about me. That's not true. And the other thing is, I don't know that I really learned anything today other than the fact that Johnny Manziel is going to be starting for the Browns this weekend.
Really?
Which is, yes.
This is the first time he's starting all season,
First time he's starting all season. He got put in. Hoyer was kind of shit in the bed a little bit a couple weeks ago. And they put Johnny in, and immediately he ran for a touchdown. It was a pretty decent rush, too. Like, I don't know, it was probably like 15 yards or something. Like, It was a pretty good run. And then, but it was a little dodgy because he also threw an interception as well. And, or I think he threw, no, he definitely got sacked. He was kind of like his count was wrong, and they hiked the ball before he was ready for it, and then he got like sacked or not just sacked. I think it was a safety. I think it was in the end zone. But anyway, so it was kind of an up and down game. And then they were like, well, that's not quite enough for us to believe that Manziel's the guy, so we're going to bring Hoyer back in. And then the Browns they should have won last weekend, and then the Colts came back to win that game, which was just really sad.
I could not believe how many points they gave up over the course of just a single quarter.
Yeah,
25 points in a quarter.
It was crazy.
That's
and by the way,
much.
I'm a Luck fan. I'm a Colts fan. I got family from Indiana, so good for them. But there's something about the Browns who have just sucked so bad for so long. And I was like, come on, guys, you can do this.
This is your time. You have a lead.
Yeah.
You have such a lead.
But now it's like massive divisional, like it's against the Bengals this Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's literally their division is so, it's Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals, and they're all like a game apart. So I don't know what's going to happen. But
their coach, the Bengals coach, just called Manziel a midget.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
So today I learned that Manziel's going to start, and that kind of made me happy because I really want to see Johnny Football. I feel like people gave him a lot of shit.
Hold on, he's the Johnny because I don't watch sports, but I hear the name Johnny Football thrown around.
He is Johnny Football.
Not to be confused with Johnny Utah, who played football at Utah, who became an FBI agent. Although I would love to see a Point Break spoof with Johnny Manziel. That would be amazing.
Shared cinematic Johnnyverse.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnny Football's helmet, like in hockey, they can paint. You know, like what if like in football you could paint the hockey the helmets like however like the goalies
Like the
in
goalies,
hockey.
yeah.
And Johnny Football painted like a dead president's face on his helmet.
Or just Keanu Reeves' portrait.
Keanu Reeves.
Or just
Like a
wearing
Keanu
Reagan
Reeves
mask.
like Sears portrait,
Yeah.
with like his head, like his hand underneath his chin. Like, what is
It's like
that?
a weird space background.
Yeah, totally.
Just a little
with,
sad
with like
Keanu on
the
the back.
Howling Wolves or something. So I learned that. But no, I will let people in on a secret about me, or not a secret, but something that very few people know, because it doesn't really come up in conversation often.
Yes.
When I learned how to tie my shoes,
Okay.
I never learned the kind of appropriate way to tie shoes, or the normal loop, swoop, and pull way of tying shoes.
Okay.
I learned bunny ears.
Yes.
And I've used bunny ears to
Okay.
this day. I have never
Really?
switched over to
Yeah.
the loop, swoop, and pull, which is, I know, the more adult, mature thing to do. This is this could all, you could trace this all the way back to my stunted growth, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know this for sure. But I have been bunny earsing it my entire life. I'm a 34-year-old man,
Yeah.
and I bunny ears my shoelaces. There you go, people. Boom, mic drop.
I think that's still a step above if you're just like, I don't know how to do it, and I have to use Velcro.
Or mommy, excuse me, honey, friend, or anyone, could you do this?
Exactly.
Can you come wipe me? Come wipe me.
Come wipe me, please.
Yeah.
Unless they're Chuck Taylors of mine, I have them already pre-tied.
You have them
They're all
tied.
slip-ons. I just
Oh, you
make
just
them
slip all your shoes on.
all my shoes,
Yeah.
unless they're Chuck Taylors.
Just slowly
they're all
destroy the
slip-ons.
backs.
Slowly destroy
Yeah.
the backs, because tying it's like typing www on when you go to a web browser. that little bit of a second adds up, man.
Yeah,
and
but
life is short.
that's-
It's like I was on a thing today, a website my buddy sent me, and it's like. It was a Warren Buffett thing, and it's like, what's your annual income? And this is how fast Warren Buffett makes it. Now, just
Oh,
think
Lord.
about how much money he's making while you're too busy doing your bunny ears when you could have just slipped your shoes on.
Right. I do find it interesting, though, that you compared it to a technology that we don't even have to do anymore, because you don't
That's
have
what
to type in
That's
www.
what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, so instead of typing www, you can just type in that web address. So I just put my shoes on. I
Did
don't
you
tie my
just
shoes.
W it? You did, didn't you?
www.
www.
www. Try. I mean, it's faster than saying W. It's all about
This is
saving
all.
time.
It's all. This podcast brought to you by Expedience. not Expedia. Expedience.
Experience. How much time can you save in your regular day?
All the time you've saved, you could tie your shoes three times.
times.
Yeah.
I learned the bunny ears, and I can't remember the last time I've done the bunny ears. I'll do like the loop, swoop, and pull on occasion for like the chucks, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember even how. Like I feel like I'm such a clumsy person. If I already now I have the two bunny ears. If I tried doing through the holes, I would lose one of the bunny ears.
Well, see, that's why I would always screw up with the loop, swoop, and pull, because I would loop one and then I'd go to swoop this one around,
Yeah.
but then you still have to hold on to it
Yes.
before you pull. I was like, how does anyone
Yeah.
do this?
Yeah.
This is sorcery. when I was a child, and still now. But no, the bunny ears is literally, so just like with tennis shoe, where just like with the single lace, you cross them over, you pull under, and you tie it, and then you just loop those, and you do the exact same thing. It's just it's the exact same thing, but you do it with the two loops.
Yeah.
And by the way, and why someone, when they invented shoelaces, didn't just figure that out.
Yeah.
Make it the easy way. No, they had to make it far more complicated. I do remember specifically where I learned how to tie my shoes for the first time,
Absolutely.
which
Tell
was
us.
Skating Plus, skating rink in Ventura, California, where I grew up. I was there with I was, I don't even know, 4 or 5, I don't know. How old is one when they learn how to tie their shoes?
Something around that age.
I think
typically.
generally, it's before you learn how to roller skate.
No, not necessarily, because you could still be roller skating. Your parents could bring you to the roller
Right.
skating rink, tie your roller skates, and send you out there.
All right, I suppose it seems dangerous as a small child, but
As a small child.
as a small child,
As a small child.
Yes.
Well, no, yes and no. I mean, we're also made out of like indestructible rubber at that point. Like you could fall and
it's so
fall and
weird.
fall and fall
Yeah.
and fall.
Bang your head against a table and you're
Yeah.
like healed the next day.
okay.
I grew back.
So I was there. Yeah, I was at Skating Plus and learning how to tie my shoes for the first time.
Wow.
Vivid. It's weird, right? The
Yeah.
memories that we have. It's
The
like, wow, it just brings you right back.
It's so weird how like you do have that processing of your brain of what memories you specifically remember exact time and place, and then others that are way more important or just more fun or whatever you just can't. Like I
Yeah.
can't remember when I tied my shoes, but there's vivid memories of like like GIFs. I remember, animated GIFs of my childhood that I can just remember like a good 18 seconds, or like Vine videos, or whatever of specific frames, like almost like a reel to reel. It plays back in my brain of just like a first person shooter, reel to reel. Me sitting on a big wheel, He-Man big wheel we had like a little walkway sidewalk from my house to the actual sidewalk, and I remember sitting on that, just watching my brother and friends ride their bicycles around the block, trying to count how many times they could ride around the block. It was
things that challenge us when we're a kid. How many times do you think we can go around the block? I don't know. Let's try.
6 hours later.
What are we at? I lost count.
I've not learned how to count that high yet. We're
or tie my shoes.
Perhaps we should have considered this earlier.
So where do we go from here? Do you tell me something you learned today, or
no,
you
we'll go to
expose yourself
I have
more
a
than
fact
you
here.
already have?
We'll go to a fact here. Here's a fun fact. Zach, you're a gamer.
Yes.
You like to play the games and all that.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Dan plays the games, and Aristotle here plays the games. I used to play the games. I play the games on occasion, but I'm not.
Do you need a quarter to continue?
Yeah. I generally. Yeah. I used to play games. The last system I bought for myself was the Nintendo 64. I've since bought every other system, but then I walked out of the place on the day they went on sale and sold it for twice as much. Like I would wait in line for like the Wii's and all
You're
of those
a
systems.
flipper?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
dude. I'm
You're
a
a
flipper, man.
flipper.
I would wait in the line, and because all my friends are into that stuff, so they would wait in lines anyways. So I would always just wait with them, because what else am I going to do? And I would either just sell my place in line for like $200-$300, or I would actually buy the system and then walk out and then flip it.
Wow.
Because
you're a one-man black market.
Yeah, hey, I had to wear a big trench coat just to fit those things underneath.
You need like a reinforced one.
Want a Wii? Huh?
I need a second coat for this
Wii
Xbox
U?
One.
But here's a fun fact about Pac-Man. Every time Pac-Man eats a regular dot, he stops moving for 1 frame, which is 1/60th of a second, slowing his progress by roughly 10%, which is just enough for the following ghosts to overtake him. So every time he eats a dot, he lags just enough to where that's why the ghosts can always catch up.
So the moral of Pac-Man is
Don't fucking eat.
deny yourself food, and you will never die.
Yeah.
And then you'll just be stuck on the same map for the rest of the game. I mean,
Which it's interesting how it's such a loaded.
Really?
It's such a loaded thing, because you need to clear the map.
where did you hear this?
Reddit. It was posted on there. It was,
They're not allowed
that's
to
bunk.
lie. It's in the terms
no
of service
lies
agreement.
on Reddit.
Yeah.
That's bunk, dude. Why would they? Why
Because
would the
that's the
programmer?
game.
Hold on a second. Why would the programmers make it that Pac-Man would slow down every time he ate a dot? Hear me out.
Yep, I'm hearing
hear me
you
out. Instead of just coding the ghosts to move faster.
Fair enough. I mean, it could be a combination of that, though.
And maybe it was just easier to
Maybe the
code
algorithm.
that in there, because it was still.
I want somebody listening to this podcast who works for
Namco.
Thank you. I was going to say
Namco
Capcom.
Bandai.
Yeah,
Namco Bandai.
And has a time machine.
I want some proof of this, because I am opposed to this fact. I do not believe it to be a fact.
All right.
Do you guys know what the names of the ghosts are?
Winkin, Blinkin, Schwartz, and Groucho. No,
Close.
I don't know.
That was those were their bar mitzvah names. They are in English. They are Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. But in Japan, they were Fickle, Chaser, Ambusher, and Stupid.
I was going to make a joke about it being cried, but
No.
sorry.
Well, they were given those names because those are the kind of personalities they programmed into the ghosts.
Yeah, because they all have really distinct personalities, those ghosts.
Well, one will chase you, one tries to ambush you, one's just super
Hold on.
dumb.
I guess it's been I've never really thought about it that way. Okay, maybe is that
They
really
have
the thing?
different AI patterns.
Oh, so they don't all just try and chase you from behind.
Some
Some will
will
try
to like head you off at the pass. Others will just chase you. Stupid is just dumb. And
See,
who's
like
the
I
other
love
one?
Miss Pac-Man's one of my go-to games to play at the arcade when I go. Like, there's
yeah,
a
she's
really
a babe.
There's a cool barcade downtown that's really cool called 82. But I guess I'm just the dumb fun game player. Like I just want to play this game and see how far I can get. I've never really noticed that the ghosts actually do different things.
I don't know that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Namco to have programmed it that way, but I feel like as someone who's played Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man for many, many years, I have like a multi. I've lost myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, that's so weird. I somehow cannot hear myself. Oh, there I am. I'm back.
Oh, here you are.
I wasn't gone.
And we're back.
I wasn't gone, and now I'm really not gone. Except that I'm really gone. So yeah, I have a multicade at my house, one of those like sit down guys.
Oh, nice.
But it's one of the like newer refurbished ones, so it's got like
The sit down. So it's a cocktail machine.
It's a sit down cocktail machine.
No.
Yeah. It's
Those
got
are
all.
awesome.
It's got all the Pac-Mans. Pac-Man? I don't know. I don't know what the correct nomenclature for that would be. All the Pac-Mans, all the
Pac-Eye.
all the Pac, yeah, the
Pac-Eyes.
Pac-Eyes, all the Donkey Kongs. It's got Frogger, Dig Dug, Galaga, Space Invaders. It's got a whole bunch, right?
Awesome.
And my favorite, and and it's interesting too because they used to bundle Galaga, Miss Pac-Man. Like that was the classic.
that was like the
classic.
classic.
Like you would see that back in the
Yeah.
day. So this one has both of those, obviously. But I love Miss Pac-Man, love Galaga, love Frogger, love Dig Dug.
Dig Dug,
It's got
yep.
Mr. Do on it. Mr. Do is a weird game.
Mr.
It's
Do.
got Burger Time,
My
which is
brother
also
used-
kind of a weird
my brother
game.
used to have the
catch
Mr.
all these
Do.
toppings in this weird meat sewer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sewer. Pitfall.
It doesn't have Pitfall.
Pitfall.
Does
Really?
not have Pitfall.
Does it
no.
have Joust?
It does not have Joust. No, does not have Joust either.
Well, then I
But
don't.
then I don't want it.
Burn it.
But yeah, so anyway, point is, like I've played a lot of Miss Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and I consider myself pretty decent. But I can only imagine that the guys who are like the world champion, like Pac-Man, like I don't even know that they're necessarily really. Here's me talking out of school completely, but I would imagine that they're more focused on their path as Pac-Man than they are about.
ghost.
I think Pinky's going to make a left right now because I don't know that there's that much. I'd imagine there's a lot of randomness in what the ghosts are doing too.
Has to be, especially when you're getting after the. You want to the real main point is the score.
Yeah.
So you want to eat all the ghosts you can, and
Yeah.
you also want to get all the fruits and the.
You need to get all the power
Totally.
You need
from
to
it.
get all of those. So it's like.
And the trick that I learned a long time ago from somebody who I esteemed as a Pac-Man aficionado, who I don't know. This is now I'm just rambling. But you want to go into like the corners where the power pellets are. And just trap and just like lure them to you, and then grab it and go get all the guys as fast as you can. Yeah, but as a kid, I was like, I'm gonna go grab it, and then I go chase them, and I'd get like one.
Yeah.
No, dumb move, Zach. Dumb move.
Dumb move, stupid Zach. Go roller skate. Go roller skate the entire shoes.
What's our next fun fact?
Our next fun fact has a little holiday fact, but it also ties back into your little credits here. Zach, you were in the Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. The Squeakquel?
Squeakquel.
The Squeakquel.
Yeah.
The number 2.
The skeet wool would have been a very skeet. No.
It's just
Chipmunks After Dark.
Yeah.
well, my brain was going to them playing skee ball.
Oh, well, there we go.
No.
Or skeet shooting.
Yeah.
Skeet
Or
shooting.
skeet shooting.
Pull.
Just launching chipmunks.
David Seville is finally fed up with Alvin and them, so he's just like he's drunk, smoking a joint, and he's got.
David, what are you doing?
He's got that from the cartoon, the old lady next door. That
Yeah.
She's the one. Pulling
Yeah. He's like, you think I'd just take this forever? The high voices and the singing.
And then it cuts to him done, and he's just like, "What have I done?" So it's the Christmas season, and ties us in a little bit. The Chipmunks here, the Alvin and the Chipmunks. If you don't know, there was obviously the cartoon in the '80s, but they originated as novelty records by a gentleman by the name of Ross Bagdasarian, who recorded under the alias of David Seville. The very first incarnation of the Chipmunks were. In theory, the science behind the recording was on the first recording. David Seville's was the Witch Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Now the ooh ee ooh ah ah,
Oh, yeah.
ting tang wana wana bing bang was
Who won 2
was
Grammys.
was a sped up version of Ross Bagdasarian's voice for that song. He used that same method of the recording in a slower tone and then speeding it up to create the Alvin and the Chipmunks. And the very first recording fully with the Chipmunks credited was
Christmas,
Exactly.
Christmas time
Yeah.
is here. Yeah.
it was the Chipmunk song. Christmas Don't Be Late, and it was first was released in 1958, and it featured the singing skills of the Chipmunk Trio. And one of the phrases on that song was Elvin was wishing for a hula hoop because that was the year it came out.
Oh, yeah. It became a number one single.
Number one single.
Yeah.
It earned the Chipmunk song won 3 Grammys, and it was the nominated record of the year, and that was the only for as far as sales go with that. It was the the last time Christmas debut song reached the number one for that long.
Your
No
move,
kidding.
Michael Bublé.
He's on a roll right now. He's on a roll.
He's in every Starbucks in the country.
He is at every Starbucks in the country.
Sorry, Nora
Dude,
Jones.
you know when you know your Starbucks albums.
Oh, I like them.
It's amazing. Like if you can get into a Starbucks, like that's bigger than a Sam Goody,
Absolutely.
if that ever existed anymore.
Perfect example. Perfect example. I'm working on creating a card game. In the vein of like Cards Against Humanity, that, like a fun. I'm working on inventing a card game, and I was reading up on various types of games, and that's how Cranium started. Cranium, they started releasing. They released their games sellable in Starbucks.
No way.
And they blew up, and that helped get them mass popularity and other
then
niche
bought up
stores
by
and
Milton
things like that.
Bradley or whatever. Yeah. Back to the Chipmunks. So yes, having done the Squeakquel and worked with the Chipmunks, fine fellows.
Yeah.
The Bagdasarian family is still the sole copyright. They own and control and I say that all, by the way, in all love. Like I don't mean control in a bad way. I mean like they have been looking after that brand since the beginning. It's a family heirloom,
keeping it in the family,
and they have done such a good job in keeping the heart of it and keeping the tone of it. And they're a really lovely family.
Yeah.
Like it was fascinating because like doing the film and meeting the family, it would be the classic like Hollywood thing of like. Something that's so pure and so kind and so nice and so lovely as a brand, and then meeting the people behind it, and they're like, oh, really horrible, whatever. But they're actually really lovely people who really believe in the purity of what the Chipmunks stood for back then and even now. And all this stuff I learned from them, like they have, when they sold those albums, by the way, talking about how like the Starbucks connection now, that's kind of what they did back in the day. There was a lot of singles, and you wouldn't go to a record store necessarily get them. You'd get them at Sears. Like they'd just be sitting with like the cigars or the ladies' garments. Like, and also buy this album on the way out. Like literally,
perfect underwear music.
Yeah, totally. Like it was amazing how they would like sell that stuff and a lot of door to door stuff. And like
it was just
crazy.
like the small 45s and the
exactly.
case, and it was just
it
was that thing you bought. I remember having it was obviously it was. I think it wasn't in the 80s. I mean, it may have been, but I'm fairly certain it was something even older because when I was younger, I had a record of the Chipmunks sing the Beatles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was old. It seemed way older than in the 80s. And because I remember the art and everything was still the old art instead of the new art. Because in the 80s, there was that cartoon.
Yeah.
Zach, I'm sure you remember.
Totally. I remember it.
The same
And the Chipmunk movie.
with the
where they go
balloons?
around. Yeah, the
Yes.
Chipmunks and the Chipettes. And they they're both like hired by that evil
to drug
couple.
smuggle,
to
smuggle diamonds.
diamonds and drugs.
Yeah.
Or diamonds and cash.
Something.
To do the switcheroo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
right,
The plot was a little
this balloon,
thin.
Alvin.
But,
Yeah, and they had like the arcade game or whatever, right? Wasn't where they chased, or it started with that. They were playing a balloon game, I think, at the beginning of the movie.
yeah.
That-
But that was where the grandma came in.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, what was her name? And I can't remember if they used that same name in the Squeakquel because basically in the plot of the Squeakquel, Dave gets hurt, and then then the Chipmunks are going to stay with Aunt, forgive me,
Dorothy or
Dorothy or whatever, and then she gets hurt, and I'm like the nephew who's like staying with her, and then she gets hurt. Now I'm like the total burnout, like video game playing, like can't take care of myself, let alone three Chipmunks kind of guy. Art imitating life. But yeah, dude, I totally remember the Chipmunk movie. That was like at that time in my life, I was like, that's a fun movie.
I remember it vividly singing because I mean we're pretty much the same age. I'm 32, and it's just one of those things that especially with that show, the cartoon, the Elvin side, the song holds so much just in my nostalgia and in my heart as a kid,
Totally.
a Chipmunk rock band and all that. And then that movie came out, and I remember watching it. It's just those,
and all the places they'd go in the world, and then they were like,
I'll tell you what, that was the first time I vividly remember hearing. What is that song? The song when they're on the middle of the volcano and there's the fire. Wooly Bully.
Oh, Wooly Bully, yeah.
That was the first time I
when
remember.
Theodore was like a god, but then they were going to sacrifice him.
Yep. That's the first time I remember hearing.
Wooly Bully.
Yes. And then there was like,
had it done, Maddie. Yeah, totally.
First time I remember that song.
Oh, good times. Good times.
Yeah. Good times and great oldies, Wooly Bully. So that's some fun Christmas chipmunk facts here.
Yeah.
And I guess while we're talking about Christmas, Dan, do you have the facts pulled up in front of you?
I do have the facts pulled up in front of me. So speaking of Christmas,
yes.
Which Christmas fact in particular? You want to talk about mistletoe?
We can talk about mistletoe. We can talk about the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh yeah, let's stay on the topic of animated Christmas specials.
Sure.
So a Charlie Brown Christmas, wonderful special. I just listened to a really great story on NPR recently about a letter writing campaign that people started in order to get Charles Schulz to include Franklin, the first black character, and it was a huge deal at the time. Charles Schulz got a lot of hate mail from people who were outraged that they were including this character in Peanuts. Charles Schulz was originally afraid at first because he thought his black friends would feel like he was just
catering to them or something?
Catering to them or patronizing them. That's the word he used, patronizing them. And they sent him they talked to a bunch of black parents. They sent him those letters saying, like, we would actually much prefer if you had a black character in Peanuts. And so he created Franklin, who they said was a little boring at first, but they didn't want to rock the boat. They just wanted to make him another kid. The first time you see him, he's just having a conversation with Charlie Brown. They're not like, hey, you're that cool new black kid. But Charlie Brown Christmas is a musical animated TV special. It was based on Charles M. Schulz's Peanuts strip, produced by Lee Mendelson, directed by Bill Melendez, and it made its debut on CBS on December 9th, 1965. It was originally commissioned and sponsored by the Coca-Cola Company, written over a period of several weeks, and animated on a very shoestring budget over the course of 6 months. When it premiered, a lot of people didn't believe in it. They thought it wasn't going to do well. They didn't, because it was they really focused on sort of more adult writing, but with children's voices. They wanted to make something intelligent, not just animated schlock. And as a result, people were like, this is going to bomb. This is going to be terrible. But they didn't have anything else to show in its place, so they put it on air on CBS. So CBS, December 9th, 1965 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, preempting the Munsters. Was viewed by 45% of people who watched TV that night.
Yes.
And, wait, how many? What?
45% of people who owned a television watched
Ready
that.
for this? An estimated 15.5 million people watched that.
It was number 2 in the ratings,
Number
right behind
2.
Bonanza. Great show.
I mean, that was also, you always, even in the 80s when Cheers was a thing, when the Cheers finale was around, you forget, you think of, market share or whatever now of getting 3 million views. How huge that is.
No.
Even some talk shows, them getting in 700,000 and they win the night. But back then there was 3 channels and that's
and that's it. And by the way, and you had no option to DVR that stuff.
Exactly.
So the television used to be just like the radio started.
Yeah.
As kind of this central location of entertainment for a family where you would gather around and you would listen to radio programs and oh my gosh, what is this thing? Yeah. This thing where we have voices that tell us stories.
Exactly.
That before it was grandma and grandpa or mom and dad, and that's it. It's not, it was books and bed and or sitting around a campfire. That's about it. As far as just entertainment is concerned. And then once the radio came out, then it was whoa, we got music being delivered to us via these weird waves of electricity or whatever. And then to bring pictures to that, and what's fascinating too is if you think about it, there's so many fascinating things about it, but this has only been the last half a century, you know what I mean? Yeah. For all of human history before that, none of this stuff was really even an option. Yeah. And now, if you think about it, because it's really sad, now it has taken over so much of our lives that it's like we would rather live vicariously through these people that we see on this magical little box than do the shit that we should be doing in our own life.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this as well. And especially when video games came into play. Because I don't give a shit about like living my life through the Real Housewives. No. But I'll go jump on Destiny for hours being like, I get to kill aliens, which I could never do in real life, but I get to do it in video games. And it's like, oh my God, and who do I get to brag to this about? The other people who are also doing the same thing.
8-year-olds screaming you
to that point, I think it's really just like sometimes you step back, you're just like, what the hell's going on here? If you're playing a game like The Sims, where you're literally controlling smaller versions of yourself, making them shower while you languish in your chair, making them use the bathroom while you shit yourself, making them eat food while you slowly starve.
And it's interesting too. A fun fact here about how like how much things, how back in those days, even in today's day, you know, how celebrities or whatever can influence things. Like, you know, John F. Kennedy single-handedly, you know, put the kibosh on the fedora. You know, before Kennedy.
Tell that to Reddit.
Yeah, well, I mean, now it's came back, you know, like the fedora is a thing now, but back in the day, you know, you like even watching Mad Men and all that, it starts with all the guys, you know, they would wear a suit and tie and a hat, and all the presidents did that, and then Kennedy was the first president to not wear, you know, fedoras or top hats of the sort with his suits. So that kind of put the sales down for that. Now, with the Charlie Brown Christmas, a lot of the Christmas trees at the time were the popularity was those aluminum, you know, the shiny, the kitschy types of things. The popularity of the special practically eliminated the aluminum Christmas tree, which was a fad from 1958 to 1965, when the special portrayed it negatively. By 1967, just 2 years after the special first aired, they were no longer being regularly manufactured.
Wow.
Yeah. So Coca-Cola probably. What if there's like a conspiracy like Coca-Cola commissioned that because they wanted to put
they wanted cheaper aluminum for their cans.
We want that aluminum for our cans. Brown, you get me this business.
That's so funny.
But going back to your point about like a market share and stuff. It's really fascinating to when you really kind of sit down and think about the fact that, you know, because like Nielsen ratings, everybody gives Nielsen ratings so much shit nowadays. And by the way, nowadays it doesn't really mean much. But back in the day, you could essentially understand who was watching what by doing kind of rough polling. You could be like, oh, we went to 1,000 homes and 80% of them were watching Cheers. So we're going to say 80% of the nation was watching Cheers. And it was pretty accurate at the time because you had three options, like you're saying, ABC, NBC, and CBS. And there was no option to record it, and really until the VCR came out. And then even then, it wasn't like a lot of people were going, oh, I'm going to make sure and record. Because that was a pain in the ass.
Absolutely.
You could even program things to not flash
and, I mean,
12
VCRs were like $1,200 when they came out. You know, they were super expensive.
Yeah, for sure. So to think that a television show, you used to have such a rapt audience. Absolutely. You could, and that's why the television made so much money in commercials back in the day, because they were like, 80% of the nation is about to, make a choice about Coke or Pepsi. So what do you want it to be? You want to be the choice of a new generation or what?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Absolutely. And it's like, and that was also, you know, before even like VCRs or DVRs, where now a lot of people, they'll fast forward through commercials, or as soon as the commercial comes on, they get on their phone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we didn't have smartphones back then. You didn't have all this other entertainment. Yeah, full on, man. That's crazy.
It's it's like you said, it's only in the last 50 years that really, you know,
that any of this stuff started that ball rolling, and now what it is today, and the entertainment machine, and it's all like there's so many bells and whistles and colors and sounds and distractions, and it's like, what do? You know? And then I look at my life and go, I could have accomplished so much.
I know.
I could have accomplished so much if I didn't have either a remote control or a console controller in my hands. I'm aware that I'm saying all these things, and I'll probably go back and play some
games. No, of course.
Like, you could have accomplished so much. Here's a fun segue. Like, scaling a mountain.
Oh, scaling a mountain.
Another fun fact?
Let me ask you this, Zach. How would you, the tallest mountain in the world, what do you know what it is? The tallest mountain in the world.
Well, I mean, I feel like the way you're asking me is a trick question.
Well,
because the tallest mountain in the world, as far as I know, is still Mount Everest.
Oh, okay, see. Everest. No,
but this. Let me ask you a few questions before you either correct me or tell me that I'm right. Is there semantics going on here? Is it the highest? Is that considered the highest peak in the world, but not the tallest mountain because it's a part of a range?
I feel like, if I remember correctly, we had a fact a while ago early on about the highest peak technically being like, I think, one of the mountains of Hawaii or whatever, because that also from the ocean floor up to the thing. But that's semantics. No, what I was getting at is it's Mount Everest, or
followed by K2.
Technically,
right? But continue.
Mount Everest is actually how it's pronounced, because Mount Everest is named after the Welsh surveyor. It's named after the Welsh surveyor and geographer Colonel Sir George Everest. He was a surveyor general of India from 1830 through 1843, and in 1865, Mount Everest was named in his honor despite his objections by the Royal Geographical Society.
No way!
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Sir George Everest's surname is pronounced Eve Rest, with Eve pronounced as the woman's name, but everybody refers to the mountain as Everest.
Yeah.
When it's technically, if it's named after that gentleman, it should be pronounced as Everest.
It does make sense.
Oh,
That's just how we parse.
blown.
That's just how we parse the language.
Yeah.
Like we see the ever.
Yeah.
That's
it's
kind of blowing my mind right
technically
now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That we've
George.
been mispronouncing that the entire
Sorry,
time.
George.
We named it after him, and we're not even getting it properly.
You know what?
Well, but then he got it. Then he got his wish because he was like,
objected.
"No, don't name it after me." And then, you're going to call it wrong. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's perfect.
It's like Young Frankenstein, Froderick, or Young. It's Frankenstein.
It's Frankenstein. It's Igor.
It's Everest.
Yeah. The story that I heard about K2 was that K2 got its name because when they discovered it, they thought it was 2 kilometers higher or something like that than the Everest, or Everest, as I've come to find out. And then they were incorrect, but the name stuck. Although 2 kilometers is a lot.
It was given the name K2, I believe, because it was the second. Where I just lost this. It was like the second peak in the range, or like the second mountain within this range.
Huh.
Let me see.
Yes, the K2 is derived from the notation used by the Great Trigonometric Survey. Thomas Montgomery made the first survey of the Karakoram from Mount Harakomak.
The Karakoram range. It's the second peak that they measured.
Yes.
Oh, all right. So, well, that clears that up.
Yeah, and it's so the K stands for that Karakoram. Yeah,
Man,
the range. That's the range. The range is the Karakoram range, and that's the second peak that they measured from K2.
Gotcha.
This is interesting. Although there have been fewer deaths compared to those on Mount Everest, the proportion of those killed to the number of people who've tried climbing K2 is significantly higher.
Which makes it a deadlier mountain.
Overall.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so I guess more people have just been like, let's scale Everest.
I'd like my chances of dying to be a little less.
Exactly.
Just a little less. Gosh, dude, it's so... I can't even...
It's also pronounced K12.
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 There's so many just... there's so many just like really horrifying stories that come from Everest.
Oh, yeah.
I was going through Netflix the other day, and there were probably... Because I love watching documentaries.
Oh, yes.
And there were probably like a half a dozen in a row of like... vanished into thin air, death on the slopes.
Yeah.
Like it was like
Murder Mountain.
and all of them were like the true story of these people dying, the true story of these people dying, the true story of these people dying. I'm like, good Lord, people.
Yeah. Then cliffhanger.
The people who lived to tell their true story, then died.
Oh, yeah.
It's so, but I'll tell you, I want to do it. It's on one of my things.
Are you a mountain climber? Do you like that stuff?
I go hiking 3 times a week generally. I'll go like hike and climb boulders and stuff in Malibu and all that. In the
Dude,
morning.
Malibu Canyon's awesome back there.
Solstice, Escondido. There's so many good places.
We gotta go.
Absolutely. Are you into that?
Let's go. I'm down.
Let's do it.
The youngest person
I love it so much.
to
It's so
ever
fun.
reach the summit was a 13-year-old named Jordan Romero. 13.
I beg your pardon?
The youngest person to ever summit Everest
13.
was 13 years old.
When did this happen?
This was
2 days ago. No.
yeah, that was in May 2010.
Holy shit!
He broke the record that was previously held by the 15-year-old Mingkipa of Nepal.
Now, how?
Well, see, that I would buy.
Yeah.
When you said a 13-year-old, I was about to say, well, yeah, he was like a Sherpa. Like, he's one of the guys who does this all the time. But that doesn't sound like a Sherpa to me.
No, I'm sure he just had, like, a crazy dad who's just like, yeah, you're super into mountain climbing, right? Yes, Dad.
Yes, Dad. Yes,
Please, I just want the Spider-Man figure.
It's at the summit, son. You got to go get it. Oh,
So Mom's on top of the mountain?
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
All right, next fun fact.
Next fun fact. Well, let's talk about mistletoe since
Sure.
we'll stay on the holiday
Absolutely.
theme.
Poisonous.
Mistletoe, yeah, it is poisonous. It is a parasite, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
Mistletoe, you think it's all that fun kissing stuff, but it sucks water and minerals from plants through this bump called a haustorium that forms on the host tree. And it's only partially parasitic. It's capable of photosynthesis, and so it doesn't make it a true parasite, because true parasites take all their nutrients from its host. So it doesn't pay rent so much as it just occasionally is like,
But
hey.
it does wash.
But it sleeps on the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it does wash the dishes.
It's your friend that came to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the holidays.
And it's been, in medieval times, it wasn't just a Christmas decoration, but it actually, they used to hang it over home, like doors and stable doors, doors to homes as well, and it would prevent witches and ghosts from entering your domicile.
Interesting.
Yeah, so not just for kissing. And in the South, evidently, I'm reading this from mentalfloss.com, there's a time-honored Southern tradition of fetching mistletoe out of a tall tree by blasting it down with a shotgun.
That's my kind of mistletoe.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Christmas is over. No more holiday spirit. Goodwill towards no man.
Anytime I hear mistletoe, I instantly think of Batman Returns with Catwoman and Batman when they're always like, mistletoe is deadly if you eat it.
And
but
this
it's even deadlier if you mean it.
I do not remember that.
Oh, my God. This is really awesome, actually. In Norse mythology, mistletoe killed a god. Balder, the son of Odin and Frigg, was felled by an arrow made of mistletoe, the only material that could hurt him.
Okay.
And some people say this is the origin of the kissing tradition, as some retellings say that Frigg revived Balder and was so happy she commanded anyone who stood under the plant to kiss as a reminder of how love conquered death.
Interesting. Is Balder's name the root of Balderdash?
I wonder.
And would he also therefore be the brother of Thor and Loki? I mean, I feel like he would be if he was Odin and Frigg.
There's
he's
son.
like their half bro.
There's Thor 4, The Revenge of the Mistletoe.
Hey guys, Balder's back. Man, what an arrow, right?
It was crazy. What happened to that holiday party?
I don't know. I was like drinking some punch, right? You saw me drinking the punch. You saw me drinking the punch. So I was drinking the punch, and then there's like this. It was like an arrow, but it was made out of mistletoe. It was weird.
Who invited Hawkeye?
He was there for like 3 seconds, and all he did is stand on the table saying, "Oh, there's two guys. There's two guys."
Who brings a freaking bow and arrow to a party?
I mean, at least if you're coming to a party, at least look cool if you're going to do nothing. I'm just talking. I'm just talking about the Avengers movie. How Hawkeye was kind of pointless in it.
He is.
He
was.
He's supposed to have a much larger role in
Here's the
Age of
thing.
Ultron.
He did some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like be brainwashed.
He did some cool stuff. He shot a lot of those alien things from the sky with his arrows.
I mean, it's a great movie. Believe me, like I love it. I'm on board. I love the character Hawkeye. It was just he didn't. And then same with even like Thor. He shot the lightning up into the hole for like 2 seconds, and then he left.
There was. I had some issues. Look, no, it's tough to find a perfect movie, especially a giant movie like that. I think Joss Whedon did a kick-ass job.
Yeah.
All things being considered,
Absolutely.
But dude, there were clearly some things like.
Yeah.
Thor can fly.
Yeah.
Why is he not flying up there and knocking all those guys out of
All
the
the
air?
time.
Why is he down on the ground fighting with the people who are stuck on the ground? I don't understand it.
He's just following Thorders.
Thorders. Oh wow. That's good and horrible.
Yeah.
That's goodly horrible.
Here we go. That's we got to film that sketch where it's like hoarders. Only it's Thor.
Just a bunch of hammers.
He's like or like, oh man, that's funny.
I can stop wielding them anytime I want.
Yeah. Speaking
Dan,
of,
you're funny, man.
Oh, thank you.
You're funny.
Speaking of mythology, if there was mythology, if there was a the what is it, Poseidon or any of those gods of the ocean, what was their weapon that they would hang on?
Trident.
Yes. Now, Zach, on as our listeners know, and as we mentioned earlier, you and I co-host another show called Picking Favorites.
Speaking favorites.
On the Wolf Pop Network.
On the Wolf Pop Network.
Yes.
Not too long ago, we had with Aisha Tyler, we had our category favorite candies.
Yes.
And Zach here tried. It was favorite candy, and Zach's like, I'm gonna have to say Trident gum, which isn't a candy. So I looked into, I got some fun facts about Trident gum here.
Oh, fantastic. I am still going to argue on some level that it is a candy. And the only reason why is because I do believe that gum is in the candy category. If you're talking about stuff like, if you're talking about bubble gum, bubble yum, bubblicious, all that stuff, right? So if we're saying that sugared candy or sugared gum is candy, I don't believe there can be a delineation for unsugared gum. It's still because is it sugar that makes candy? Is that the?
I will. If this was like a courtroom, I would agree with that logic, because if you're going to the parent, definition of like confectionery treats made in factories like that, then I would say it would be considered a confection.
If dentists approve of it,
it is
not a candy.
Solid work. And I did, by the way, when I said it, I said, I know this is probably against the rules, but
we got a bunch of that fifth dentist who disagrees with everyone else.
Yeah.
It just so happens they all lived on the same block we were polling. Survey says.
We just didn't want to go to the other part of town. We're like, whatever. We know what dentists.
Where the classy dentists live.
Yeah.
The Trident brand was the first national brand of sugar-free chewing gum in the United States.
Wow.
It was developed by the American Chicla Company in response to medical discoveries linking sugar to dental cares. The original Trident formula contained 3 enzymes thought to soften dental tartar, but it happened to be sugar. It happened to be sugared. So the original Trident formula that had these enzymes to prevent tartar, it was sugared.
So Trident is a portmanteau. 3 enzymes: trident, dental.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's Trident.
They don't care about Poseidon or Neptune or any king of the sea.
It's just in reference to the 3 enzymes that fight tartar. And when the artificial sweeteners became widespread in the early 1960s, the formula was changed to use saccharin instead of sugar, which became the sugar-free Trident that was introduced in 1964. The first sugar-free chewing gum was unveiled in 1964, 1 year prior to
the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Or also the Charlie Brown.
That too.
Oh yeah, and that too. And a few years before JFK did away with fedoras.
Yes.
Man, what a decade!
A lot
happening.
A lot of stuff happened in those 60s.
Slow down, guys.
What happened in the 60s? What happened in the teens?
The roaring 60s.
The roaring teens.
Oh, I'm glad I finally know what my favorite gum is named after.
Yeah, Trident. It's after tridental enzymes.
I like it.
I'll take a pack of the. Give me the Winter Fresh and some of the tridental enzymes, please.
It's coming right up, sir.
Yeah. That's my go-to voice. My go-to voice is the nice lady. I don't know. That's that.
Oh my, they had quite a few flavors.
Yeah. Read some off, Dan.
The original Trident sugarless gum included flavors like bubblegum, cappuccino, cherry tropical twist, passionberry twist, cinnamon, watermelon twist, minty sweet twist, citrus twist, spearmint, crystal frost, original, peppermint, and wildberry twist.
That's a lot of twisting.
Yeah, I know. Like,
whole lot
lay
of
off
twisting
of the
going
twists,
on.
okay?
Yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah, what is the twist exactly? Cocaine.
Yeah, here's a twist.
It's
You die at
watermelon.
the end.
It's watermelon and cocaine.
It's perfect.
What?
Any ailment.
What? You know what's? Well, I will say what's
Stop chewing.
What's interesting about original Trident and you
Make me want to
I just want another piece.
Yeah.
Anybody have Trident?
Make your teeth skinnier. You'll never stop chewing.
Your teeth will start so many businesses.
And then with that guy in every 80s movie. The original flavor of Trident, which is the only flavor I chew, is they put it in their mouth and they think, I do I have a pack on me because that's how I roll. So original flavor, so you think it's like just minty, you think it's like peppermint, right?
Yeah.
Except that it's like peppermint and cinnamon. It's a very. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to give you both a piece right now, so you can really, if people at home, you
and
can just
they have
imagine.
less than 5 calories per piece, no fat, no sodium, carbohydrates, sugars, or proteins.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's that kind of
Also,
thing.
Trident in some countries is sold under the brand Stimorol.
I don't like that name as much.
Yeah. It stands for the 3
Stimorol enzymes. See, can you taste it? Can you taste it?
Yeah.
It's minty, but it's cinnamony.
Yeah.
Cinnamony. Cinnamony.
It's like it's very much. Yeah, it's kind of like Big Red meets a little bit of
Yeah. A little Wrigley's.
Cinnamint.
Big Wrigley's.
Yeah. You remember Mintaburst or Cinnaburst?
Yeah, I remember.
Those? And everybody thought there was like the wives' tale that you could chew the wrapper and everything, but it was people do that.
They're trying to get you like tinfoil.
You were
like-
just that kid.
I was that kid who believed it because it was like a weird paper
it was a paper wrapper.
Because up until that point, most chewing gum had
And
that
the
foil wrap.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it comes out with this weird, see-through cellophane or whatever.
Yeah. You're like, oh, no, you just pop it in with a wrapper. Oh, I'll do that. No.
I mean, I was 8. I was still tying my shoes with the bunny spoops.
Oh.
Did you guys there you go. Did you guys ever maybe this is a Southern California thing, but I feel like as a kid you feel like, oh, it must be everywhere, this like kind of wives' tale or whatever, this thought. But when we were kids, we believed growing up, if you got a wrapper on a Tootsie Roll Pop, you know how it was all the little kids doing all the different like, canoeing and all that stuff. And there was one kid that was dressed up like an Indian.
Yes.
And he was shooting an arrow at a star. There was a star on the wrapper.
On the pop.
On the Tootsie Roll Pop.
Yep,
Yeah.
I remember that.
And we believed as kids, if you got a wrapper that had a star on it, you could trade that in for another Tootsie Roll Pop. Did you know that? Did you ever think
I
that
heard
when you were
that.
kids?
I believe that too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I remember hearing
even
that.
up in Michigan then?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't just a Southern California thing. I desperately would love to know where that came from, or if that was ever a real thing. Like maybe Tootsie Roll had an offer, because we'd convinced the poor hostess down to the Mexican restaurant down in the corner of the street where our house was. We would get Tootsie Roll Pops there, and we'd go back and go, yeah, you need to give us another one. And
That's how
not
it
even
works.
trying to scam her, but we fully believed it. And she was like, okay, and she would give us more Tootsie Roll Pops. And then later on, someone was like, yeah, I don't think that's a real thing.
Yeah, we're losing so much money. According to Snopes, that is false.
Yeah.
The rumor that you could redeem the one with the Indian for free Tootsie Roll started after the introduction of the Pops in 1931. It's been around for a while.
Wow.
They never held any kind of promotion involving the collection or redemption of their wrappers, but the rumors persisted for over 60 years.
That's a crazy rumor.
Great rumor.
They say the story probably got its start because of the prevalence of contests and prizes associated with the packaging of children's products in an era when the Tootsie Pops were first marketed. And because only about 30% of the wrappers had the Indian on it, so that led to tales about certain wrappers being special. Certain thing. It's like with candy bars years later.
Yeah.
If you get the golden ticket.
Yeah. If I got a golden ticket. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Speaking of, while we're talking about Tootsie Pops, this fact was, I believe, on either our first or second episode. The Dum Dum suckers. Do you remember those Dum Dum suckers?
Heck yeah.
Best part
You
of
ever-
getting your hair cut as a kid.
Absolutely. Or in Michigan, going to the bank with your mom, you'd get Dum Dum suckers.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the question mark? Dum Dum
mystery
sucker?
flavor.
The mystery flavor?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is? Do you know how they come up with that flavor?
Pineapple.
No. It's the bleed through of flavors. So when they're in the machine that's manufacturing each pop, say you have a strawberry pop, you stop putting in the strawberry, and then you put in the pineapple or
And
the
then
root beer.
there's going to be a
and then
little
there's gonna be a
bleed-through
little bit
mixture of
bleed-through
the overlap.
Yep. That's the mystery flavor.
Genius.
Why waste product when we can trick these kids?
Well, not even just trick them, but
Yeah.
you're giving them a twist.
Exactly.
You're giving them that strawberry twist.
That's the Wild Berry Original Twistamint.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome. hey, if you were a
If you were a Tootsie Roll Pop, would you eat yourself?
I know I would. But I'd lick myself silly.
How many licks would it take to get to your own setting?
Who cares? Just lick.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that commercial vividly. Mr. Turtle, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
A one.
No. The turtle
Yeah.
was
The turtle.
I'm too old. Ask Mr. Owl. Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? Let's find out.
Yeah.
1, a 2, a 3,
Crunch.
a 3.
Yeah. Give it up. And you know why? Because that owl was a businessman.
Mr. Owl, where are my parents?
Who apparently did a lot of coke.
He did a lot of coke. He went to college. He did a lot of coke. Started a business, and that business was eating suckers from little children.
And I'm tired of eating mice. I want candy.
And not tried an original.
Yeah, I'm done pooping out bones.
They don't even poop. I think they puke them up.
Oh, do they? Is that
it's
how
like a
pellets work?
it's a regurgitation thing.
Owls, you're gross.
You're gross.
You and your Gahooligan friends.
Well, Zach, we're approaching our time on this episode. I appreciate you being here.
One more fun fact. One more fun fact
here.
This is just too much fun.
Sure. All right, here we go. Here's a fun fact about the digital wristwatch. In 1970, the first digital wristwatch with an LED display was mass-produced, called the Pulsar, and was produced by the Hamilton Watch Company. This watch was hinted at 2 years prior when the same company, the Hamilton Watch Company, created a prototype digital watch for Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey.
Oh, wow.
Throughout the 1970s, despite the initial hefty cost of digital watches, the popularity of the devices rose tremendously.
Yeah, they were so popular that they had to start mass producing them because so many people were like, I want that. I want that right now.
And then Casio came around.
Yeah, then Casio came around. Then they got their product on every single Nickelodeon game show. Casio keyboard, Tuffy bicycles, wristwatches, you name it. There's patented Indiglow technology.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Double Dare's physical challenges.
Yeah. If you can find this bicycle in this ear full of wax, it's yours. I'm Mark Summers, and this really bums me out because I have OCD and hate being dirty.
Well, how sad is that, too?
Yeah, I know. Well,
it was apparently it's like super hard. Like he was washing his hands like 17,000 times a day.
I don't blame them. They seem like a gross place to be, just like kids and like weird viscous fluids everywhere.
But it wasn't Double Dare that made him OCD.
No. I think that was just like, hey, you already have OCD, but we need you to host this game show.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why at the end of every episode he made the kids go do that 3 times and then turn around 3 times and then go do the thing.
Oh dear.
And Monk was based on him.
So Zach, this is as we end the show here. This is where you have the opportunity to shill whatever you got. You got your Twitters, you got your.
Where can people find you online?
What do you want to promote? I know you got your Operation Smile. Whatever, anything you want to promote. Anything.
All right, well, it's been great, guys. See you.
I'm out.
So my Twitter, Instagram, both at Zachary Levi. My Facebook, Zachary Levi Facebook. I don't really know. I have it connected to my deal. I don't even know what the actual Facebook is. You'll find it. You'll like it or not. I don't really care. What else? Oh, Operation Smile, as we talked about before, I'm an ambassador for them. They're an incredible organization that go around the developing world and bring top doctors, plastic surgeons, anesthesiologists, nurses, volunteers to go and essentially do operations on a lot of mostly children, but even some adults that are born with either cleft lips or cleft palates and other oral deformations as well. Just giving people new leases on life. It's really a tremendous organization. They do tremendous work, and also, for all of you out there who are kind of leery about where a lot of money goes to with nonprofits, which, by the way, you should be. There's a lot of very interesting nonprofits out there. In the pie chart of giving and spending, like they are very good about trying to put as much money as they can toward the operations themselves. People like myself who are ambassadors who go and do fundraisers or go and do mission trips with them. We pay for our own way. It's not even like they're saying, hey, celebrity, come and do this thing. Like, hey, if you want to come down, we'd love for there to be more exposure. It's going to cost you money to get down to Honduras. So, and as it should be, I think. Yeah. I think they're very good about that kind of stuff. They try to keep their administration fees down really low. And again, put as much money as they can toward helping the world. So go check them out, operationsmile.org, or you can follow them on Twitter at Operation Smile. I have a company called The Nerd Machine, as you mentioned earlier. You can go to at The Nerd Machine, as well as the Facebook, Nerd Machine Facebook. I really don't know how Facebook tags work. Yeah. I'm realizing right now.
It's just like usually at, then you start typing whatever name you're looking for. It'll find.
Even
it'll
on Facebook?
It'll give you a list of pages, and usually I imagine that those pages, the official ones,
there's so many doppelgangers too, though. But anyway,
there's verified pages now on Facebook too.
Oh, good.
So.
Oh, they finally did that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. My page on Facebook that's verified is Zachary Levi.
Yeah. But yeah, you can follow us at Facebook or on Twitter at the Nerd Machine, or go to thenerdmachine.com, and we got a lot of fun, like merch and editorial stuff and more content that's coming soon, and then beyond that, like I don't know. There's nothing like currently to promote other than you listen to us on the Picking Favorites podcast, because we've been doing that for fun. And whenever I get another job, I'll let everybody know.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's that. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
coming.
doing it.
We really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Had a lot of fun.
And if you guys would like to find us online, well, guess what? You're in luck. You can find the podcast online at TWL Podcast. We're also on Facebook, Today We Learned with Razzle and Dan. If you want to email us, that's great. We want to hear from you. Send us an email, todaywelearnedpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want something slightly more personal, well, we have personal accounts. You can find me on Twitter at OsteoFerocious.
You can find me at Twitter at MyNameIsRazzle2.
And guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a very good holiday season as you're heading into that. Travel safe, all that fun stuff. Please continue to tell your friends, like it on iTunes, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate all the kind words and feedback you left so far.
Yeah,
and
that's we appreciate it all, and as we're nearing up, all of the holidays, be it Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, everything, and just everybody have a safe time and have fun with your friends or your family or whatever. However you celebrate the month of December and January, enjoy it. And, that's kind of been a thing, a lot we've touched on is just enjoy life and remember things and enjoy who you're with. So, do that. And as always,
I can't let you learn that, David.
Thank you.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.